The new book is, we pick out folks, we call them points of light. Well, I've written 4 books, but the only reason I wrote so much about Sicily is because I was able to sit next to Professor Gaetano Cipolla, and by sitting just next to him, the way Esther is, you learn by osmosis. So I'm very, very fortunate this evening to have perhaps the most knowledgeable man in the United States of America on Sicily, ab initio, from the beginning all the way down, than Professor Gaetano Cipolla. And I like it very much, because he's my publisher, when he actually reads my book, and he actually likes some of the stuff that I've written. So I'm very pleased that he's here tonight. The first thing I want to talk to you about, I'm going to talk about different things this evening, but the first thing I want to talk to you about is what's going on in Sicily right now, okay, today. Because as you know, I live there 8 months a year. I come back here for the winter time to spend a little bit of time with my kids and to teach at Northeastern University Law School, where I happen to be a professor, and then I'll scoot right back in 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm going to stay there this year to December. So I have and because we travel so much, we don't stick to one area, we pretty much have the pulse of what's going on. And right now what's going on is, of course, Sicily is still in the throes of a profound and deep economic recession. Last year, we saw that the Americans really didn't go as much as they had in past years on holiday to at least Sicily. And that was due in part because of the euro being so expensive. It was nearly 1 to 130. Now, by the way, the euro has fallen tremendously. This week it was 1 to 1.9, 1 to 1.8. So it's a tremendous value if you decide to go there. And also, because of the problems in Ukraine, the Russians didn't show up. The only Russians that showed up last year were the Russians who bought package tours. I don't want to say the low-end Russians, but pretty much the low-end Russians. The high-end Russians, the wealthy Russians, they didn't come. So as a result, there was lots of vacancies and lots of hotels, at least in the, popular tourist attractions from Taormina all the way down to Capo San Vito. I mean, just a lot of places that were empty. Esther and I did a wonderful story about the problems that the boat people have as they're coming from North Africa, trying to escape the carnage that's currently going on in North Africa all the way to Syria. And one of our pieces that's on our TV program kind of got to me a little bit. Okay, I didn't really know too much about the issue, but when we did the piece over there, we kind of studied up on it quite a bit. And when we talked to the admiral of the Mare Nostrum, it's called, he had told us that in 2013, 26,000 migrants had been picked up off the coast of Sicily, 26,000. Well, last week the figures came out for 2014, and the figure is over 62,000 last year. It's an increase of 128%. A lot of them arrive, in caskets. Now, all of a sudden, we have another problem that's perhaps the most frightening of all, and we need to kind of pull our ears up a little bit about this. But as you know, Libya is not too far away from the Sicilian coast. It's 88 kilometers or something like that. It's not too far away. And Libya and Italy have a long history together. Now, Libya is in the throes of a very severe sectarian war between the Shia and the Sunni over there, and they're both armed to the teeth. And ISIS made its first appearance there about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And the fear is right now in Italy, especially in Sicily, that these migrants that are coming in could be cells with advanced elements of ISIS. It's a very scary problem that's going on right now. And the Sicilian folks, they're not like the Americans in terms of being a warlike people. America, we have the Army, the Navy, we have the drones, we have the Navy SEALs, we have all this other stuff. But what we have in the United States of America that what Italy doesn't have is the Second Amendment. The United States of America has over 30 million or 300, some ridiculous millions and millions of people who have guns, okay? In Italy, there is no Second Amendment. There is no right to bear arms in Italy, okay? So as a result, at least the population, the southern population especially, is unarmed, except for your hunting stuff, you know, your squirrel and rabbit, stuff like that. So the fear is that if cells come in to Sicily, then we have the Italian military police, but the local police are ill-equipped to handle the problems. Local police in Sicily, the municipal police and so forth, I don't know if you've ever seen them, but those guys, they're the ones that they carry they have the white pistols, the white holsters. I don't even, you know, usually there's cobwebs in this gun. These guys have never fired these guns. They haven't a clue. They're not military trained the way the Carabinieri are, for example. So this is a really huge problem, and it's going to be a problem now in the foreseeable future. And the thing that's happened as a result of this is that a nationalistic movement has started in Italy. Right-wing nationalistic movement has started in Italy that wants to stop the influx of immigrants into Italy for lots of reasons, but especially up north, they're getting very vigilant about this, and now it's beginning to metastasize with some of the political parties that are trying to get some traction, so to speak, in Italy. This is going to be, the next couple of years, this is going to be a huge issue. There is no such thing as welfare. You can't go to welfare. There's no place in Sicily that you go to welfare to get the basic needs, okay? Who carries the ball, who stepped into the breach on that particular issue is the Catholic Church, okay? Some of the churches will, but again, it's all come as it may over there. That's insufficient. The electrical union goes on strike. Who gets affected? New York City, right? In Italy, if the electrical union goes on strike, every electrician in the country goes on strike. They're national unions, okay? And by the way, there are national unions even for lawyers. There's a national union for lawyers. Actually, my favorite book. There are stories about something that we can all relate to in terms of stuff that we've all grown up with and things like that. There are stories I try to teach people a little bit about the history, not as intensively as Gaetano does. I do it more kind of to the masses, so to speak, okay? He's a scholar. You know, I'm just a guy. I'm a lawyer. I'm an anti-scholar. Lawyers are antis. I try to tell my stories a little bit differently in that book. So I like this book. This is my fourth book. I'm very pleased that, you know, they're all different from each other. So I'm very pleased that I've been able to tell stories. And the thing that I like about writing is that I get people who send me emails all the time. Something like, "Dear Alfred, I'm 85 years old, I'm 82 years old, I'm 75 years old, I'm in a wheelchair, I've never been able to go to Sicily or Italy. But by reading your books, I feel like I'm right with you." And when I put a thing up on Facebook that my book is about ready to come out, I get haunted by people who've read the other books. When's it coming out? When's it coming? And then when they buy a book online and I send it to them, literally the next day as I start getting emails from them, "I haven't gotten the book yet, I haven't gotten the book yet, I haven't got the book yet." So I must be hitting a nerve on people. For those of you who are unaware, a group of us started an initiative 3 years ago, and Gaetano is one of our directors, where we are teaching in Vincent Titone. Of course, the great Vincent Titone. I'd be remiss to not point out Vincent Titone in the back over there. Him and his 525 strong Italian wine, food, travel. And what else? That's good enough, right? His meetup group is a wonderful group. He's keeping the home fire stoked over here, but both of these fine gentlemen are on our directors. We've got a first-rate board of directors, and we had retained Babylonia Language School in Taormina to work with kids. And for the last 3 years, we were lucky enough to expose 200 students a year to the English language. You can't train a student in a semester or 2 semesters. However, what you could do is light the fire so that on their own, they're going to want to learn the English language. But the criticism I started to get this past year, especially from contributors and donors and so forth, was that it's like, hey, Alfred, why are you guys just concentrating in Taormina? You need to be in the urban areas. You need to be in Palermo. You need to be in Catania. You need to be in Syracuse. You need to be in... And you know, it was like hitting me, and I said, you know what, they're right. So for this year, we talked to the directors. What we decided to do is to fund summer camps for kids, okay? We think we can get bigger bang for our buck if we can get them young enough with native English speakers there, interest motivating them in the English language, all right? So my directors have all come up with different areas, and we started the fundraising process. It's going to cost roughly $1,000 US dollars to run a 2-week camp for students, okay? So Esther, who is Hungarian born, and I'm going to introduce her in a little while, but believe me when I tell you, the last year she's morphed into a Sicilian, okay? You have no idea. She has morphed into a Sicilian. She has immersed herself in the study of Sicily, the historical component of Sicily, the modern day support. And for those of you who have watched our Yumi and Sicily videos that we've been putting on, it's profoundly evident that she is into it up to 3 feet over her head. She loves Sicily, and she's a Hungarian, okay? Imagine if she was Sicilian. But in any case, she has organized a group in the Arciprezza, Arcicatena area, where she's going to do a camp over there. We have another group that's working in Arcibonacorsi with a summer camp. We have 50 kids just in that one place alone we're going to be working. Gaetano Cipolla, we're going to do something in Francavilla, which is a beautiful little borg. I love Francavilla, where he's from, over there. Now, another one of our directors, Giovanni Lanza, is going to put something together in Monreale. I had mentioned to you about Augusta. We have another one of our directors, Joe Spinelli, is getting a group together. He's going to send his daughter over there, who's a linguistics PhD candidate, to actually administer the course. So if we can get these 5 camps going, then that's going to be great. So what I try to do, we have a beautiful website. If you don't know nothing about the Sicilian Project, go to www.thesicilianproject.com. What we're still trying to do, we're trying to find, and I know that person is out there, that Sicilian American person who's sitting pretty because his grandfather came from Sicily at the turn of the century, made a lot of money, has got a lot of money, is a philanthropist, is a benefactor. If we can find that type of a person or persons or corporation or business to subsidize the Sicilian Project, then we can influence and save lives. We can get them away from the grasp of the mafia, which, make no mistake about it, is remetastasizing once again. As the economy goes south, what jobs are available? Okay, where do they recruit the muscle for the mafia? But in the inner areas of the Sicilian heartland, kids that are out of work, young men who are out of work. If we could turn 1 or 2 lives around away from the illegal thing, then we're going to be happy. With the Yumi in Sicily, and I'm going to have Esther talk about that in just a few minutes, we thought we should visually make a presentation, because some folks don't like to read, frankly. Okay, some folks are visual learners. So we've done, Esther, how many? 14 episodes. We've gotten sponsors to, pony up and to back, each individual thing. We've done Kickstarter campaigns. How many Kickstarters have we done? 5 successful Kickstarter, which are crowdfunding campaigns. And we're, you know, clawing and scratching our way, but we're staying ahead of it. And now, thousands, it was shown statewide in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts all up until just last month, and things are doing great. So we have here a collection jar, okay? And at the end of the night, if you would like to make a donation to the Sicilian Project, we have there's no employees. You're talking about transparency. It's like, you know, if we make $100, it goes right to, you know, that pays 10% of a camp. We're going to leave it there. If you want to drop some money in there, a check, or if you want to become a sponsor to a specific area, say, Alfred, you know, Agrigento, here's $1,000, put a school in Agrigento. We'll find the right teachers and we'll put them in there for you, and we'll be doing some stuff video to show you people, which is what we've done.